Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried driving to a destination without knowing where you were going? Imagine jumping in your car, hitting the gas, and just driving aimlessly, hoping you'll somehow arrive at the perfect place. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly how most people approach their desires. They say they want more money, a better relationship, a successful career, but when you ask them exactly what they want, they can't tell you. Vague goals lead to vague results. If you're not clear on what you want, how can you ever expect to manifest it? Clarity is power. The moment you define what you truly desire, you give your mind a clear target. Your brain is like a heat-seeking missile. It needs an exact location to lock onto. If you're saying, I just want to be happy or I want to be successful, that's not enough. What does happiness look like to you? Is it financial freedom? Is it waking up every morning with energy and passion? Is it a deep, fulfilling relationship? Success isn't the same for everyone, and if you don't define it, you'll spend your life chasing someone else's version of it. Think about this. The most successful people in the world don't stumble into their achievements. They see it before it happens. They visualize it so clearly that it feels real before they even get there. Olympic athletes don't just train physically, they train their minds. They picture themselves crossing that finish line, feeling the rush, hearing the cheers. They make it real in their mind first, because when you can see it and feel it internally, you naturally start taking actions that align with it externally. Let's make this personal. Right now, I want you to ask yourself, what do you really truly want? Not what your parents want for you, not what society says you should want, not what your friends are chasing. What moves you? What makes your heart race with excitement? What makes you so fired up that you'd be willing to push through any obstacle to make it happen? Some people never take the time to ask themselves these questions. They let life happen to them instead of creating the life they want. But when you get crystal clear on your desires, everything shifts. You stop settling. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve you. You start moving with purpose. And when you move with purpose, the universe responds. But clarity isn't just about saying, I want $1 million or I want to find my soulmate. It's about getting specific. If it's wealth you're after, how much do you need? What does financial freedom look like for you? If it's love, what kind of person do you want to attract? What qualities do they have? How do you want to feel in that relationship? The more detail you give your mind, the more it can work for you. Your subconscious is powerful. It filters out millions of pieces of information every second and locks onto what you focus on. Ever notice how when you decide you want a certain kind of car, you start seeing it everywhere? That's not a coincidence. It's your brain tuning into what matters to you. Now imagine if you gave that same level of focus to your biggest goals. Imagine if you programmed your mind to recognize every opportunity, every connection, every resource that could move you toward what you desire. That's what happens when you get clear. But here's the secret. You can't just think about it once and forget it. You have to live in that clarity every single day. Write it down, speak it out loud, see it in your mind so vividly that it becomes undeniable. If you're not constantly reinforcing what you want, life will distract you, challenges will shake you, doubts will creep in, and before you know it, you're back to drifting. I'm telling you right now, this is where most people get stuck. They say they want something, but they don't define it, they don't visualize it, and they don't lock it in emotionally, and then they wonder why they're not getting results. But that's not going to be you, because from this moment forward, you're going to get clear. You're going to decide with absolute certainty what you want and why you want it. And when you do that, when you commit, when you focus, when you give your mind a clear target, something incredible happens. Life starts working in your favor, doors open, opportunities show up, the right people cross your path, because now you're no longer just wishing, you're directing, you're commanding your reality. And that's when manifestation stops being a theory and starts being your life. I'll ask you one last time, what do you really want? Define it, own it, and watch what happens next. You ever notice how two people can start with the same opportunity, the same resources, the same environment, yet one skyrockets to success while the other stays stuck? What's the difference? It's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's not even talent, it's belief. Because the person who succeeds believes they will. The person who struggles doubts they can. And that single difference changes everything. Belief is the foundation of manifestation. It's the force that shapes your reality, whether you realize it or not. Most people don't understand this, but your life right now, your finances, your relationships, your health, is a direct reflection of what you believe is possible for you, not what you say you want, not what you wish for, what you actually believe. If deep down you don't think you deserve wealth, you'll sabotage every financial opportunity. If you believe love always leads to heartbreak, you'll push away the right people before they even have a chance to prove you wrong. And here's the thing, you didn't create most of these beliefs. They were handed to you. They were installed in your mind by your parents, by society, by past failures. Maybe you grew up hearing money doesn't grow on trees and now you think wealth is scarce. Maybe you had a bad relationship and now you assume love always comes with pain. The problem isn't that these thoughts exist. The problem is that you've accepted them as truth instead of just outdated programming. The good news, beliefs can be changed. Just like a computer program can be rewritten, your mind can be reconditioned. But here's where most people mess up. They think they need proof before they believe. They say, I'll believe I'm successful when I have the money. I'll believe I'm worthy of love when someone chooses me. But that's backward. That's why they stay stuck. Because the world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you expect. The most successful people in the world don't wait for proof, they believe first. They decide before there's any evidence that they are worthy, capable, and deserving. And that belief changes how they think, how they act, how they move through the world. When you believe in something so deeply, you start making different choices. You take risks others wouldn't. You see opportunities others miss. You persist where others give up, and suddenly what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. But let's be real, rewiring your mind isn't easy at first. It feels unnatural. You might stand in front of the mirror and say, I am successful, I am confident, I am powerful, but a voice in your head fires back, no you're not. That voice is your old programming fighting for survival. And most people, the second they feel that resistance, they quit. They say, see, I knew it wasn't true, but you're not going to do that because you understand that the resistance is proof you're making progress. It's proof you're stepping outside of the old identity that's been holding you back. Think about a thermostat. If a room is set to 68 degrees and you open a window, the system kicks in to bring it back to 68. Your brain works the same way. If you've been programmed to see yourself as average, the moment you try to level up, your mind will try to pull you back. It'll flood you with doubts, fears, and insecurities. That's your old setting trying to keep you comfortable. But comfortable doesn't get you to the life you want. You have to push through that discomfort. You have to keep reinforcing the new belief until your thermostat resets to a higher level. And how do you do that? Repetition, emotion, action. You don't just say you're successful, you feel it. You act like it's already done. You show up as the person who has already achieved it. You train your mind to expect it. Because when you believe at that level, the universe has no choice but to match your energy. This isn't wishful thinking, it's science. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It's the filter that determines what you notice. Ever decide you want a certain kind of car and suddenly see it everywhere? That's your RAS in action. Now imagine if you programmed your mind to focus on success, on abundance, on possibilities. Imagine if instead of noticing obstacles, you trained yourself to spot opportunities. That's the power of belief. And let's be clear, this isn't about pretending life is perfect. Challenges will come, setbacks will happen, but when you believe in yourself at a core level, those challenges don't break you, they refine you. You stop seeing failure as a sign to quit and start seeing it as feedback. You adjust, you learn, you grow. Because deep down you know the outcome is already yours. Most people live their entire lives controlled by limiting beliefs they never even chose. But you have a choice. You can keep accepting the old story or you can rewrite it. And when you do, when you shift your belief system, when you commit to seeing yourself as powerful, capable, and deserving, everything else follows. Because once you believe, really believe, nothing can stop you. Think about the last time you wanted something so badly that just thinking about it sent a surge of energy through your body. Maybe it was a dream job, an opportunity you knew could change your life, or a relationship that made you feel alive. Now remember how you felt in that moment, because that feeling, that's the key to manifestation. Most people think manifestation is just about what you say or what you visualize. They think if they just repeat affirmations long enough, things will magically appear. But words alone don't create reality, emotion does. Emotion is what gives your thoughts power. It's the difference between saying, I want success, and feeling so certain about your success that it already exists in your mind before it shows up in reality. Your emotions are a frequency. Just like a radio station, whatever you're tuned into is what you receive. If you're constantly feeling frustrated, desperate, or doubtful, you're sending out a signal that attracts more of the same. But if you align with the emotions of already having what you desire, if you feel grateful, excited, empowered, your entire energy shifts. And when your energy shifts, the world around you starts to shift with it. Look at people who are truly magnetic. They walk into a room and you feel their presence before they even say a word. They radiate confidence, joy, certainty. That's not luck. That's emotional alignment. They've trained themselves to live in the feelings of success, abundance, and happiness before those things even fully materialize. And because they're constantly vibrating at that level, opportunities, people, and resources naturally gravitate toward them. But here's where most people struggle. They think, how am I supposed to feel successful when my bank account says otherwise? How can I feel loved when I'm alone? How do I feel abundant when I'm drowning in bills? And that's exactly the problem. They let their current circumstances dictate their emotions instead of using their emotions to change their circumstances. The truth is, your external world is just a reflection of your internal state. If you wait for things to change before you allow yourself to feel good, you'll be waiting forever. You have to flip the script. You have to generate the emotions first. You have to wake up every day and embody the energy of the person who already has what you want. Because the moment you do, you start making different choices. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You take actions that align with where you're going, not where you've been. Think about a time when you felt unstoppable. When you knew deep in your soul that you were on the right path, what did that feel like? Did you feel powerful, excited, free? That's the state you have to tap into now, not someday. Because when you make that your baseline, when you operate from that level of certainty, you start attracting everything that matches it. People always say, I'll be happy when I get the job, I'll feel confident when I lose the weight, I'll feel successful when I make 6 figures, but they've got it backward. The job doesn't create happiness, the money doesn't create confidence, it's the other way around. Happiness creates the job, confidence attracts the opportunities. Abundance is drawn to the person who already feels abundant. This isn't just about thinking positive, this is about embodying the energy of what you want before it physically shows up. If you want love, start feeling and acting like someone who is deeply loved. If you want wealth, start carrying yourself like someone who already has it. If you want success, move through your day with the confidence of someone who knows it's inevitable. And yes, at first it's going to feel unnatural. Your mind is going to resist. It's going to look for proof that nothing has changed. But this is where most people fail. They give in to their current reality instead of creating a new one. They let the outside world dictate their emotions instead of using their emotions to transform their world. The most powerful thing you can do is train yourself to live in the emotions of your future before it arrives. Because when you do, the universe responds. The right people show up. Unexpected opportunities appear. You start seeing solutions where before you only saw obstacles. It's not magic, it's alignment. It's energy. It's the fact that you're finally matching the frequency of what you've been asking for. The question is, what are you tuning into? What emotions are you living in every day? Because that's what you're attracting, whether you realize it or not. And the moment you take control of that, the moment you decide to feel the way you want to feel, everything changes. Because now you're not just hoping for it, you're living it. And when you live it, the world has no choice but to catch up. Everything you desire is already out there. The opportunities, the connections, the breakthroughs. It's all waiting for you. But here's the catch. You don't get what you want, you get what you commit to. And commitment isn't just saying, I want this. It's deciding this is mine, and then aligning every thought, emotion, and action with that decision. Most people never fully commit to what they want. They say they want success, but only if it's easy. They say they want love, but only if there's no risk of getting hurt. They say they want abundance, but the moment things get uncomfortable, they retreat. That's not commitment. That's wishful thinking. Commitment means there is no plan B. There is no backup option. There is only forward. When you fully commit, when you burn the boats and eliminate the exit doors, something shifts inside you. Your brain stops entertaining doubt, and all your energy gets redirected toward making it happen. You stop asking, what if this doesn't work? And start asking, how do I make this work? And that shift in mindset changes everything. Because the second you remove hesitation, the second you decide there's no turning back, the world starts to move in your favor. Think about the most successful people in any industry. They didn't succeed because they dabbled. They succeeded because they went all in. They weren't waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect plan. They made a decision and backed it up with relentless action. They didn't sit around hoping things would fall into place. They put themselves in motion and created momentum. And that's what separates people who manifest their desires from those who just dream about them. The dreamers wait. The committed act. The dreamers talk about their goals. The committed prove it with their actions. The dreamers hesitate when obstacles appear. The committed adjust, adapt, and keep moving forward no matter what. Here's the truth. When you make a real commitment to something, the universe tests you. It wants to know if you're serious. You'll face setbacks, challenges, roadblocks, things that will make you question whether you're on the right path. And most people, they take those challenges as signs to quit. But the ones who actually achieve what they want, they take those challenges as fuel. They see every obstacle as an opportunity to grow stronger, to refine their strategy, to become even more certain that what they want is already theirs. Because commitment isn't about if it happens, it's about when. When you decide with absolute certainty that you will create something, you no longer entertain the possibility of failure. You may have to change your approach, you may have to adjust your timeline, but quitting is never on the table. And when you operate from that level of certainty, people notice. Opportunities show up. Resources you never expected appear, because now you're moving with the energy of someone who knows where they're going, not someone who's just hoping to get there. Think about a time in your life when you were truly committed to something. Maybe it was getting in shape, maybe it was building a business, maybe it was proving to yourself that you could achieve something no one believed you could. What happened? You made it happen, because commitment has a power to it, a force that aligns everything in your favor. Now imagine applying that same level of commitment to your biggest goals. Imagine eliminating every ounce of hesitation, every trace of doubt, and deciding this is happening no matter what. How much faster would you move? How many more risks would you take? How much would your reality shift if you stopped wondering if you could and just knew you would? This is where most people get stuck. They want guarantees before they commit. They want to know exactly how it will unfold before they take the leap. But that's not how manifestation works. You don't wait for certainty, you create it. You don't wait for everything to line up, you move first, and then things start to align. People who manifest their desires don't need proof before they commit first. And then the proof shows up. They don't need permission, they don't need validation, they don't need everything to be perfect. They just decide, this is mine, and they step into that reality before anyone else can see it. The question is, what have you been holding back on? Where have you been half in, half out? What's the thing you say you want, but you haven't truly committed to? Because the moment you decide, the moment you go all in, everything starts shifting. Not someday, not when things feel easier. Right now, because once you commit, the rest will follow. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of action, not thoughts, not wishes, not just feeling good about the idea of it. Action, because without action, nothing happens. You can have the clearest vision, the strongest belief, the deepest emotional alignment, and the most unshakable commitment, but if you don't take action, you'll stay exactly where you are. Most people get stuck because they overthink. They wait until they have the perfect plan. They analyze, they strategize, they play out every scenario in their minds, and in the process, they paralyze themselves. They think taking action means they have to have every step figured out. But the most successful people in the world don't start with all the answers. They start with movement. They take a step, they adjust, they take another step, and they refine as they go. The mistake most people make is believing that action only matters when it's big. They think they have to make a massive leap for it to count. And because that leap feels overwhelming, they do nothing at all. But real momentum isn't built through giant occasional actions. It's built through consistent daily movement. Small, disciplined actions taken every single day create unstoppable momentum. Think about a rocket taking off. The most energy is used in the first few seconds, just breaking free from the pull of gravity. That's what action feels like in the beginning. It's hard, it's uncomfortable, and everything in you wants to stay in the familiar. But if you push through those first moments, if you keep moving despite the resistance, something incredible happens. You break free. Momentum takes over. And suddenly, what once felt impossible becomes automatic. But here's the thing, you can't just take any action. You have to take aligned action. Too many people stay busy instead of productive. They convince themselves they're making progress because they're doing something, but they're avoiding the real moves that would actually change their lives. They spend hours planning, researching, and preparing instead of taking the uncomfortable steps that actually create results. Action that manifests results isn't about being busy, it's about being intentional. It's about asking yourself every single day, what is the one thing I could do right now that would move me closer to my goal? And then doing that thing, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you, because the things that scare you the most are usually the exact things that will lead to the biggest breakthroughs. Most people avoid action because they fear failure. They think, what if I mess up? What if it doesn't work? What if people judge me? But failure is not the enemy. The only way you truly fail is if you do nothing. Every mistake, every setback, every so-called failure is feedback. It's refining you, teaching you, adjusting your course. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail fast, learn fast, and keep going. And here's what's even crazier. When you take action, when you put yourself out there, when you move forward even before you feel ready, you tap into something powerful. You stop waiting for motivation and you start generating it. Because motivation doesn't come first. Action comes first. Then the motivation follows. Think about a time when you didn't feel like doing something, working out, making that phone call, having that difficult conversation, but you pushed yourself to do it anyway. What happened? The second you started, everything shifted. Your energy changed. Your focus increased. You felt alive. That's because action creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. This is why the most successful people don't wait to feel ready. They understand that readiness is a myth. No one feels ready in the beginning. Readiness comes through movement. Clarity comes through action. The confidence you're waiting for, it doesn't come before you take action. It comes because you take action. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Stop waiting for the right moment. The right moment is now. The only thing standing between you and everything you desire is the action you haven't taken yet. And the second you decide to move, the second you step out of hesitation and into execution, the world around you starts shifting, because now you're not just hoping, you're not just wishing, you're proving to yourself and to the universe that you're serious. And when you do that, nothing can stop you. Look at your life right now. Everything you have, everything you are experiencing, it's a reflection of what you've been consistently doing. Not just what you've done once in a while, not just what you've tried when you felt motivated, but what you've made a habit. Because success isn't about one big moment, one lucky break, one giant leap. It's about what you do every single day. Most people underestimate the power of consistency. They think if they take massive action for a few days, they should see immediate results. And when they don't, they quit. They look at the people who are winning and think, they must have had it easier. They must have had better opportunities. But what they don't see is the years of disciplined, relentless effort behind the scenes. They don't see the late nights, the early mornings, the times when no one was watching, but they showed up anyway. because that's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck. It's consistency. It's the ability to keep showing up long after the excitement fades, long after the initial motivation disappears, long after the results are taking longer than expected. It's the discipline to do the work even when no one is applauding, even when no one is watching, even when you're not sure if it's working. Because deep down you know that every action compounds. Every step forward builds momentum. Most people quit because they don't see instant results. They work out for a few weeks, don't see a six-pack, and give up. They start a business, hit their first setback, and decide it's not for them. They try to change their mindset, face resistance, and go back to their old ways. But the ones who keep going, they're the ones who win. Not because they never struggled, but because they never let struggle stop them. Consistency isn't just about doing the work, it's about becoming the person who does the work. The person who doesn't rely on motivation but on discipline. The person who doesn't look for quick fixes but for long-term transformation. The person who doesn't need external validation to keep going but is fueled by an inner fire. Think about anything great you've ever achieved in your life. Maybe it was mastering a skill. Maybe it was transforming your health. Maybe it was building a relationship that truly matters. None of it happened overnight. It happened through repeated action, through daily choices that stacked up over time until they became your reality. And the same principle applies to everything you want to create now. There will be days when you don't feel like doing the work. Days when doubt creeps in, days when you wonder if it's worth it, but those moments, that's when it counts the most. That's when you have the chance to separate yourself from the majority. Because anyone can take action when it's easy. Anyone can be consistent when they feel like it. But the ones who rise, they're the ones who stay consistent even when they don't feel like it. They push through and eventually the results show up. Look at the top athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the greatest artists. They all have one thing in common. They practice their craft every single day. They don't just work hard when they're inspired. They don't just show up when they feel good. They make it a non-negotiable part of their lives. And because of that, they create results most people only dream about. But here's the real power of consistency. It doesn't just change your results, it changes you. It rewires your identity. When you commit to daily action, when you refuse to break your promises to yourself, you start seeing yourself differently. You become the kind of person who follows through, who shows up no matter what, who doesn't wait for things to happen, but makes them happen. And when you become that person, success is inevitable. So ask yourself, where have you been inconsistent? Where have you been starting and stopping, expecting results without putting in the sustained effort? And what would happen if, starting right now, you decided that no matter what, you're going to show up every single day? Because the truth is, your future is being built in this moment, not in some distant someday, not when you feel ready, right now. And the actions you take or don't take are shaping the life you're going to live. So if you want change, if you want transformation, if you want to manifest everything you desire, there's only one thing to do. Start now, stay consistent, and never stop. Because once you commit to that, nothing can stand in your way.